Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Can We Talk About It? I'm your host, Noella Kazadi. Today I'm joined by a very, very lovely guest and we're going to tackle another important topic. But before we get started on the topic, I will let our lovely guest introduce herself to everybody.
Hi everyone, my name is Richie PV Malingo and thank you very much, Noella, for having me here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's very a privilege to be back in this environment where I grew up. So who am I? I'm actually PV or Richie, people call me differently. I was born in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and I've grown in here in the UK in the past 15 or 16 years of my life. I'm a mother of two beautiful queens and also on top of it, I'm an entrepreneur and just, involving myself in different business ventures. So, yeah.
Can we talk about it? We'll be too busy fighting over nothing. Can we?
Should I be able to play non-Christian music at my wedding?
As a Christian, can I sign a DNR?
Is it a man's duty to pay the bills?
Is it right for Christian artists to charge for performances?
Can men be gold diggers?
Can we please talk about it?
Can we talk? Can we discuss? Yeah.
Okay, so we start off with asking, how do you manage to balance all of that? That's a lot of things for one person.
It is. It really is. And it comes down to really being self-disciplined, and I started my entrepreneur journey early this year, exactly on the 1st of January.
Wow.
It was that day we were having a party at home while people were dancing and, having fun, and I went down to my bedroom and I started writing down my goals because it's one thing having the dreams, but it's also important having goals, and also having your goals written down is the most important things because they say whatever you visualize will actually materialize.
Wow.
So that's how I started my journey, and how do I balance it? I've gone from being disorganized to learning my time management skills and, being self-disciplined. I think that's the most important thing because, it's all about not just doing something once, but it's all about doing it consistently. And that's how you see the results because you can say, okay, you know what? Because I'm also involved in property. So if I have to call agent and I say I have to make 100 calls today, Monday, because it's all about a number game because out of 20, maybe 2 of them will say, yes, we're going to work with you. So doing it on Monday, not doing it on Tuesday and doing it on Friday will not give me the result that I want at the end of that week.
Right.
So that's one thing. And, having 2 kids is not easy. Raising them by myself, it's definitely not easy. But you just have to do what you want to do. As long as you have a purpose in life, you're good. You're taking action progressively.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming here today. And I think it's going to be a great topic. I know we were talking about it before we started filming, but I'm really confident it's going to be a very important topic. So without further delay, we're going to get to the topic. What I want us to talk about today is finances and dreaming big, right? And to just give you a bit of background of it, obviously, coming from a Christian point of view and also just on a world view as well, you find that a lot of people want to be financially free or financially stable, but they find themselves going to school, whereby they get themselves this education in hopes to become financially free.
Exactly.
Some people pray, they spend their time fasting and so on. Why? Because I want to get my finances in order. Some people end up finding their dream job. Why? Because people want to be financially free. But you find that 20, 30 years later, people are still not financially free.
Exactly.
I know financially freedom can be different to different people, but everybody is always everybody wants to attain a certain goal, but it seems like we're not getting there. We're watching other people get there, but we're not getting there ourselves. So the first question that I'm going to ask you, what does success mean to you?
I think for me, success is just not money.
Okay.
Success can start from little things that you do consistently, things that you do daily, weekly, monthly. For example, it's like having a gym membership, right? You have a gym membership, but you don't go to the gym. And then, you wonder why you don't have 6 packs. That's for me is not success. Success to me, for example, is having a gym membership, going 3-4 times a week and getting the result that I want to get. Many people, you look at them, you say, I'm not successful. I say, okay, what have you achieved so far in life? well, I went to college and I went to uni and I got a degree. I was like, but isn't that a definition of success to you? We look at success differently. Now, you touch base on financial awareness. Why are we not financial aware? Okay, you also said financial freedom. Let's first understand the foundation of a system. Okay, what is financial freedom? To me, and it depends on everybody, I'm not claiming I'm an expert in this area. I'm learning as I grow in this business, right? To me, financial freedom is having an amount of money on a monthly basis that actually, covers my expenses, okay? That's for me financial freedom. I don't have to have 1 million in my bank account to say that I'm financial free or financially stable. We're looking at the system we in, right? Our society. I'm looking at my parents. I'm looking at my grandparents, and I'm looking at what was before that, right? Nothing has changed. Okay, I grew up in a household where my mom and my dad told me, you go to school, you go to uni, then you get a good job, and then you buy a house. Make sure you finish paying your mortgage in less than 30 years or even more than that. That's for me is poverty knowledge.
Why do you say that?
Because think about it, right? I have friends. I went to a university in Paris, okay? It was a rich university. And the way those kids used to think were different from the way I used to think, because their parents were on a level, okay? Because they were taught how to become financially literate.
Okay, what's the difference?
That's something that we're not being taught, okay? When they say, go to school, go to uni, have this and have that. And then you start working your 9 to 5, right? And you realize that after that, you're not actually financial free.
Right.
You're not financially literate, okay? We send our kids to school because obviously we want them to have a better education. But one thing we're noticing, and one thing that's happening to me or any of us here, is that we never taught the importance of money. And I know money is actually a topic that people don't touch base on, okay? And it's very, very crucial and important to really talk about money, because knowing what money is going to make you aware of a lot of things in life.
That's very true.
Very true. A lot of things in life. For example, I was talking to my daughter. I said I have 2 daughters. My first one, she's 9. And, every year what we do, I have a sheet of paper, okay, and I tell her every day 1, you have to save £1, £2, And for me, it's important for her to know if I give her £2, £1 goes into saving. But then again, saving is also for savings. People who save are losers.
Okay, you're touching on a lot of different things here. So I want us to break it down a little bit.
Tell me.
So you are teaching your 9-year-old daughter, who should probably be playing outside, about saving money. Some people might say that's cruelty.
I don't teach her about saving money, because saving money are for the poor.
Saving money is for poor people. I've never heard that before.
Okay, let me break it down for you. For example, in a property business, okay, you have £50,000 in your bank account, in your saving, okay. 5 years later, how much would you have out of it?
If it's saved, £50,000, maybe a little bit more with a little bit of interest.
Do you think that your money in the saving account will depreciate or will increase?
I'm guessing it will stay the same, no?
It actually depreciates, okay? Now, if I have that same £50,000, okay, and I put it into, let me say I want to buy a house, okay? Economically speaking, it is proven that houses always rocket every single year.
In the property business?
In the property business.
Okay.
So you put £50,000, you have your deposit, and then you have your lowest fee, you have everything that is your expenses in order to get there. Then you start having your passive income, because obviously your tenants are paying for your rent. When you get to sell that house, how much would you be saving it for example, in the next 2 years? That £50,000 is going to increase maybe to 200K. That's how money grows. The more you save, the more you get poorer.
Right.
That is why we have richer getting richer, because they invest their money in assets. They don't save money.
So you're trying to tell me, because obviously as we grow up, what do they teach us? They teach us that, you go to school, once you get a good job, start to have savings. Save for the future, save for rainy days. So
it's wrong. It's totally wrong. Let's think about pension, for example, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to my former manager and he said, oh, you know what, right now I have like 200K in my saving account for my pension. And I'm hoping in the next 5 years it's going to increase to maybe 300, because he has a very good job and he does well for himself. And I said, how old are you, Damien? And then he said, I'm 45. I said, okay, so in 5 years you turn 50, right? And then he says, yeah. I said, okay, let me break it down for you. Your money is not going to serve you for a long time. And I'll tell you what. In the old era, when you used to work as an employee and then you went into retirement, your employer was paying for your health, okay? Nowadays, our health system is getting expensive.
yeah.
The more you age, the more you will need for your health, okay? So you have 200 to 300K in your bank account. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna need medicines. How is that helping you when you're saving? It's making
end
you
up
poor.
spending it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Whereas if you,
Yeah, go on.
whereas if you have that in your asset, it makes you richer. That's why the richer always get richer, and then the poorer remains poorer, and the middle class people stay in that level.
And what I was about to say is, it's so funny we're touching upon these topics, but a lot of people don't know about this. We go to school to gain knowledge, but we come out with our degrees, with that knowledge, but why is it that we don't have this kind of knowledge of these things? Because again, it's only after today that I'm discovering that saving money makes me poorer, because to me, it's like, I gotta work, I gotta put my savings, you hear that all the time banging in your head, but then you're kind of thinking, okay, if I am investing it, then it's a little bit different. So I'm gonna ask you two questions at once here. So why is it that then we don't get that within our education system? And second of all, instead of saving, if I'm going to be investing that money, is it not some sort of gamble as well? Wouldn't you say it's a gamble, because I can win or not win and lose out and completely lose everything that I worked for?
Okay, so when you say gamble, what do you mean exactly?
If I'm investing something, isn't that a risk? Because I might be able to make the money or not make the money.
Well, it depends on what you're investing, right?
Right.
When we both went to school, were we taught how to become financially literate?
Absolutely not.
Do they teach us about that?
No.
Can you imagine what we would be today if they taught us how to become more financially speaking? They don't want us to know that.
And you know, it's weird because you go into uni, for example, you finish it, like the idea that I had of the world, like I'll go into uni, I'll finish, and all of a sudden, boom, I get out into the world. But it's like, yeah, you have the education, but you get out into a competitive world and you just don't know where to start.
Exactly.
You don't know where you stand.
Exactly.
But you're looking at the very few that have some sort of clue. All of a sudden, now they're ahead of you.
Of course.
And it's like you're always kind of working a little bit backwards, which kind of makes sense with what you says about the education system. And I guess it's a thing of, if everybody knew it, then everybody would be rich, then there would be kind of no point.
Of course, one of my favorite books that I read and I keep reading is by Robert T. Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it has a whole series of it. And there's also one for kids, rich kids, smart kids. And I have my daughter reading it as well.
Wow.
You know, that book teaches you everything about financial. Every finances. Why do the rich actually don't pay taxes or even less taxes? Okay, let me give you an example. For example, McDonald's, right? McDonald's, they're everywhere. Do you think McDonald's just make money out of burgers? Do you think so?
That's what I thought.
No. The money that McDonald's make, they invest that in assets, okay? Let me break it down for you. As an employee, you will always pay more taxes. The more you go into a job environment, the more you will pay for taxes. Why do the rich don't pay taxes? Because rich people don't have a job. They don't have a job because they have assets. They don't work for the money. They have money working for them, okay? Why would you want to work for the money? Do you think that the CEO of McDonald's, as we are speaking right now, is not having a good time somewhere?
That's true.
while we have people working
12-hour shifts round clock.
That's money working
on
for
a minimum
him.
wage.
Exactly. And then what do they do with that money? They invest that in assets. This is where you make money, okay? Because everything that flows in your pocket is an asset. Your house is not an asset. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine. He said, when is it that you're going to buy your first house? I said, I'm not ready for a first house. How come? You're losing on life. You know, that by the time you get a mortgage, because me buying a house is going to be a liability for me. Every time I'll be paying for that mortgage, money is flowing out of my pocket, not in my pocket. The minute you buy a car and you start driving it, it becomes a liability. It's not an asset. So everything that you put in your pocket, as in cash flow flowing in your pocket, is asset, you know, and this is something that people don't teach us. We don't get taught this.
Some of these things I'm learning it as well today, because society will tell you need to get a job, you need to secure a house, you need to buy a nice car, you need to buy a nice phone, you need all these things to remain fine. And touching upon phones, we spend about, I don't know, maybe £100, sometimes £90, £70 a month on contracts, because this is what society conditions us to be. But now you're telling me all those things are liabilities.
They're all liabilities. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Please don't get me wrong. I don't have anything wrong with people buying houses, going to uni. We still need our doctors.
Yeah.
We need our architects. We still need those people who develop skills, right? That I probably don't have. But all I say is, once you get to that level, what's next?
System has always taught us, you finish this, you work. And after that, you work, you have money to at least sustain your living, and that's it. So
exactly. What we need to know is, in the employment world, we only survive, okay? And there's a couple of things in that as well. I mean, the first big things I believe is that we are not financially literate. We're not being taught how to become financially literate.
Okay, stop there 1 second. You said that in the employment world, we only survive.
Of course we do.
Okay, could you touch upon that? Could you skip past that too fast? We have to come back to it.
I myself, for example, I used to have a beautiful professional career, you know, work for like large organization in the software industry, technological industry, telecommunication industry, and that allowed me to also like lead team members like worldwide and travel, okay? I was earning a good salary and I had the opportunity to travel the world and live in different parts of the countries worldwide. But one thing is, every time I was getting paid, I will pay my rent, I will pay my expenses, and I'll probably have a couple of pounds in the pocket or in my bank account, and then I'm still scratching my head.
Wow.
But I have a good life, meaning like professionally speaking, I have a good status. I'm being called a manager or people manager, and I have money flowing in my bank account, but I'm still scratching my head. Isn't that surviving?
That's
because
true.
for me is, you know, I want to be able to say, you know what, I probably have tens of thousands, you know, in my bank account. That's, for me, is not surviving, because, you know, I have at least enough, you know, to cover my expenses. You know, if things might happen, I say, okay, you know what, I have enough money in my bank account. That's why I say we do survive in the work environment. You know,
that's so much to think about.
It is. And to go back to what I was saying about not being financially taught how to become financially literate, that's a problem that we have worldwide anyway. But there's also another thing, and I've also noticed, you know, people, those who know what to do and, you know, probably be having the opportunity or talk to someone in order to get there, they don't do it because of fear.
Okay.
People are used to what they do, okay? You cannot know how to become successful if you don't try how to become successful.
That's true.
Okay. For example, one of my mentors always tells me, Richie, what's your main goal? I say, well, one of my main goal is to become one of the first African ladies to be featured on Forbes. And it's like, okay, how do you gonna do that? So I'm not worrying about the how, because the how you get to figure it out somehow. What I do is I hang around those who are already millionaires, because I'm not a millionaire, yeah? Because I want them to teach me how to do that.
Now you're talking. So I think your circle matters then.
Of course, because your network is your net worth. In this business, the more people you have, the more your portfolio is growing, whether it is like them as being your friends or your circle, and also in the bank account. All these things that I'm talking about, I wasn't taught this just in a matter of seconds. It took time, I love going to networking events. I love going to business conference events, and I always talk to those who already have the money, the knowledge, the power. And one thing they always tell me, what is your circle?
Wow.
What are the kind of people you hang around with?
Wow.
Right? One of my mentors was a multi-millionaire, right? Every time I talk to him, he says, Richie, you need to differentiate yourself from where you've been to where you're going. And I know where I'm going. So because I know where I'm going, I need to be taught these things that I've never known and that I want to know. So, yeah.
So I think it's very important, I guess, when we're going back to circle, that sometimes we've got people that dream, right? Who dream that I want to be this, I want to be that. But then you look at the environment that you're living in, you're thinking, well, your mental state is only going to be able to think a certain way because of the people that you're surrounded by. And I guess some people have the fear to say that, okay, how can I surround myself with, say, millionaires because I'm not there myself? And then you kind of feel like, I don't know, this insecurity kicks in. How do you overcome that? To say, okay, I'm hanging around people that are a certain place where I'm not. So I don't know. I don't want it to be a pity situation. How do we go about that? And secondly, before you answer that, where do we find these millionaires to become friends with? Because I think that's what a lot of people will be asking.
So I'll just talk about myself first, right? And that's how I discovered, this word and how I'm growing my network actually right now. I myself used to love to party, right? I used to go out every weekend. Like on Wednesday, I'm in college, I'm already thinking about Saturday, okay? They say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So that was my environment. But it came to a time where I said, is this the life that I want to lead and live for the rest of my life? One day I'll become a missus to someone. One day I'll become a mother to someone. Is that the kind of example that I want to set or example I want to show? Of course not. So how did I start? You talked about dreamers. Yeah, having dreams is good. We all have dreams, right? But having goals are more important. You can dream about anything. I dream about a lot of things. But as long as I don't turn them into goals, they don't become reality, right? So how did I go about that myself? And that's just my experience, is that I started really going into networking events. Right. That's where it all started. Most of the people that I know in my circle, I didn't know them last year.
Wow.
And most of them are I'll say strangers because they're not from my family circle. They're not cousins. They're not parents or aunties. They're
not a friend of a friend.
No, they're new people. And those are the people that I hang around with because they're teaching me the way, right? I was talking to one of my friends 2 days ago and in a property business, and I said, listen, I'm feeling down today, right? And he said, oh, why? What triggered it? So I told him what triggered it. He said, but you know what you're doing it? Keep going. When I went back to my own family member, she said, it's fine. Just take some time out and rest, Show me your circle and I'll tell you who you are.
What is the role of a parent and a family member to be, what is the role? Because a lot of parents would say, go to school, go to school, go to school, get a job, get a job, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. And that's it. And people do that and they think, you know what, I've reached, but still they're financially stuck.
Yeah.
How do we start it earlier on?
As a parent, I feel like every time I send my kids to school, I send them to a corrupt system because school is a corrupt system. It's good that they're receiving the knowledge of A, B, C, D, and counting, but I don't think that's gonna lead them to become the successful woman of tomorrow. So me as a parent, what I've started to do with my 9 years old, for example, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of personal development and affirmation videos. I've gone from listening to Chris Brown album every day to not being interested in that because I know that every time I listen to Chris Brown's song, I'm putting money in his pocket, right? So how do I get to that point where people will be listening to me and me getting richer, right? And that's the kind of things that I'm teaching my child, So one thing that I'm trying to teach her is what is money? How do you become financially literate? I was talking about this book, Rich Kids, Smart Kids. It's a book that I bought for my daughter. So we were on a 30 days challenge, and we are going back to a 30-day challenge as of tomorrow.
Wow.
I make her read like 1 or 2 chapters like a day, and then we break it down together. We have a conversation about it, and when I'm stuck, for example, and I can't answer any of her questions, we just go onto Google, we go onto YouTube, and then we start
So you mean to tell me you sit down with your 9-year-old
Yeah.
and you're having conversation about these books?
Exactly, we do that.
What difference do you think that has made?
She has become she's becoming financially literate.
At 9 years old?
At 9 years old, because what I took a video of her, I think about 2 weeks ago.
I saw that.
And I posted it on social media, and I was asking her, so Keona, what did you understand about this? And she was like, well, we are taught to be going to school, and then we're doing this, but we don't know what money is, and how is it that we don't know what money is, and then tomorrow we acquire money and we wouldn't know how to handle money. So to me, that's waking her awareness, right? She's waking up to it, and I know the more I do it, the more she'll become better, because I want her to become better than me. My child is not my competition.
Wow.
Right? My child is not my competition, because one thing that I've noticed as especially where we come from as African, like your parents always think you're their competition. There's no competition. I talk to my child because I want my child to become more. That's all I'm living for, right? If I don't do well, she will not do well.
Wow.
Right? I have to become that person for her to become better than me. So I think as parents, it is vitally important to, first of all, get to that level, but also to teach our kids. Communication is the key.
I'm glad you touched on that. I think communication is key. Like we were talking earlier, and I said some things we just assume that people should know.
Yeah.
We just assume that people should, especially with children, or we completely shut off their opinion. Understand? This is how it's gonna be, and that's it. So instead of it being a conversation, it's just you saying this, not knowing whether they've understood. Again, it starts to shape their mind into a certain way.
Exactly. And it's good that you're saying kids, because my kids, they're trouble, okay? They will do certain things, and I'm sitting and I'm like, why would you do that? Don't you know that if you run up the stairs and up and down, you fall down and hurt yourself? But they might not know it.
Yeah.
So I have to sit down with them and break it down to them. And that's how we get to talk about things.
Wow.
And each things that they do, I'm like, okay, what is it that you do? And then you're right. I grown up in a household where I didn't have freedom of speech, right? It was do it and do it. That's it.
That's
no
it.
discussion. The minute you even go to A, you get a slap on your face. That's how it was, right?
Yeah.
And the way I'm raising my kids, I'm not saying I'm a perfect parent. There's no perfect parent. I try my best to raise my kids according to whatever my experiences and to where I'm going. So I talk a lot to them.
Wow.
I sit down with them. I have a book note. I didn't bring it here. Every week, I'm a freak like that. I note down everything they do, negatively speaking, and I split that book in two, like negative things that Keona did and positive things. And then on Saturday, because Saturday is my family day, I don't do work on Saturday. I spend time Saturday with my family, So we'll sit down and I say, okay, Keona, this is what I've noticed as your behavior. And then I give her the chance to tell me why she behaved like that.
Wow.
Because if I don't know why she behaved like that, what will I go about starting shouting and screaming? Poor girl, she will not understand that.
Yeah.
There are times I will start shouting and screaming. She'll go, Mommy, why are you screaming? I'm like, because she's like, yeah, but Mommy, you don't have to scream. And then we have a conversation about it. And then me as a parent, I also realize, no, that's not how you do it. And I think that parents were very proud to for our children to point fingers at us.
Say that that's wrong. You can't admit that you're wrongs.
I was a very impatient parent. Very impatient. When I tell you to do something, do it. Keona, take this, put it in the sink. Do it now. Don't tell me you're doing something. I'll start screaming. One day, I sat down with my daughter. I said, listen, New Year resolution, what am I doing wrong? She goes, Mommy, you shout too much. I said, that is true.
Wow.
And that's how, and also that allows your daughter to also become confident in life. For example, when I started my professional career, my manager would do and say anything and I'll do it. Go and grab me coffee. I stand up. I go. Come on, that's not my job.
Wow.
Because
And employers honestly take advantage
No,
of
of course
that.
they do, because they do, because you're not allowing that person to
Have a voice.
exactly. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
it.
it's so true. I was watching a video recently. It was just one of these motivational videos, and it was a young lady that was finally in the dream job, and the employer was sexually harassing her. And again, she didn't know how to face it. And in the video, they were showing her going back to her mom, and the mom was like, understand that you have a voice. Now, imagine young ladies especially learning this from a young age, and the confidence that it gives them to be able to say, I can speak up. And it makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference, because I didn't grow up being confident, you know. I didn't grow up being confident at all, you know. People will see me and say, this girl, she knows how to talk. No, I was not confident. And it showed in my past relationships, for example. It showed in my surrounding. It showed when I was having conversations with my parents, you know. They would say, do it, and I'll do it. But it came to a time where I had to say no to this. No is such a powerful word. It releases you, you know? Like, for example, I remember my mom, she called me 2 weeks ago and she said, can you do this for me now? I said, Mom, I can't. Why can't you? Well, Mommy, because I'm about to do something. I'm about to run to a meeting. You're just calling me two minutes before. She was not happy with that, but, you know, it's all about me. That's my life. I cannot let anyone else control me. I always tell my daughter, do not let me control your life. I'm here to guide you.
Right.
But we are partners for life. We are a team. You know, one thing that we have in our household, me and my daughters, we always say, this is a team. We are queens of our lives.
Wow.
You, Manea, you, Keona, me, Richie. But let's work as a team. Okay? Let me give you your voice, I have my voice, and then we're going to move forward like that. And that's how it should be.
It's really amazing. I'm a Christian, right? I sometimes, as a church, we pray, isn't it? God, I want you to give me money. I want you to make me rich. We pray for 30 years, 40 years, I'm still praying. And it's not happening sometimes. And we say, oh, God is not answering me. What would you say to someone like me if I come to you and say, you know what, I'm a believer, I believe that I can do this? Because you said that it's about changing your whole surrounding. So coming from a spiritual point of view, where I'm like, God that created money can be able to make it descend from the heavens, if I could say. What part does that role, how do I start also to align my thoughts with that?
You know, that's why when it comes to Christianity, I'm very careful with that, because, you know, you would have people talking now, you don't know what you're on about. But the thing is, how can you pray to God, right? I'm a Christian myself. How can I pray to God from the 1st to the 31st of each month, and I sit in my house? I know all of the TV channels. I know all of the shows. I don't change my surrounding. I don't talk to great-minded and like-minded people. And I'm wondering why I'm still the same place. You need to position yourself.
Now you're talking.
Right? You position yourself with the right people at the right time in the right environment. I cannot pray to God to give me money and for God to realize 50K for me next year, and I'm not taking any actions.
Maybe we think it might just, you know,
it's a lie.
Spontaneous miracle.
No, it's a lie.
From the sky.
And then you find that's why when I go to church and I talk to church goers, like when they talk, I'm like, really?
But I think we need to educate ourselves to some degree.
Exactly. And it's vitally important for them to know, yes, it's good to be a Christian. It's definitely good. Like, I don't do anything in my life without the help of God, because I know with Him everything is possible. But what I also do is, you know, when I pray to God and I say, when I wake up in the morning and I have my routine, I pray, I meditate, then I go on with my day, right? And I say, God, today, help me. Give me courage. Give me strength. Because I might talk to someone who's going to put me down and think I'm less than a person, right?
Your mind as well.
Exactly. But let me tell you something. So now I've prayed to God. I got out of my bedroom and I'm going to sit down in front of the TV. how is that going to change my life?
It won't.
It will not.
That's the reality. It won't.
You need to change your habit. Your habit becomes your reality. You need to become self-disciplined. You need to become consistent because those things are going to show the results. And then we wonder that people in less than 2 years are like, whoa, where did time go? How did you do that? I changed it.
Wow.
I changed my habit, you know? And I think it's important for churchgoers to just, you know, we need to come out of that circle where, yeah, I'm praying to God, I'm praying. It's fine, but do whatever it takes for you to get there.
I completely agree with
You
that
know?
because, you know, even the Bible says that faith without works is dead. Because we want to believe, but you don't actually go out there. And I think it's important to get out of this mentality of thinking money will literally fall from the sky. One thing that I was thinking about is just, we find ourselves in these classes. There's lower class, there's middle class, there's upper classes. Like, when we try and think that in depth, first of all, who puts us in these classes? How do we end up in it? You find that certain people of this class live in this neighborhood, they have these type of friendship and these type of circles, and that carries on till forever. Then you have people that are in the middle class, they have these types of circles, these types of environment. What is it that causes that?
Let's just like trying to, because I'm not really an expert in that area, but let's try to find the answers to it and speculate around that. I think it just depends on the areas of our lives. Like, for example, you know, I lived in Paris, and then you have like certain neighborhoods where you have like people from the Arabic background, and then you have like the African, and that's how they're being categorized. To say who put us in those class, for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it's just the society we live in, right? If you earn, let's say 30K a month, all right, you're already categorized as an upper level because you're already clearing 6 figures, all right? If you earn like 1,500 a month, you're like middle class, right? If you're on welfare and then you earn nothing or less than 1,000, you consider low level. So I feel it depends on the area of our lives and maybe our background, maybe our religion. But I feel like it's society which is behind all that. That's just my opinion.
I think I have to agree with you on that because it's almost what we were touching about earlier. It's about the knowledge we're fed with, and sometimes our knowledge depends on is determined by the environment in which we find ourselves in, and then we're conditioned to think a certain way, right? For you to change your thinking, you had to break out of what you knew to try and think, okay, let me try and understand how those people think. But we're conditioned to think this is who I know, or this is how I've been, or this is how I've lived, and we stay there. And by that basis, we end up not really progressing to places that we could. And I think the most important thing is about being able to break barriers.
Of course.
And that starts with you as a person saying, you know what, I want better for my life. I want more, rather than saying, this is what it is, it's not great, but that's what I've accepted to live. One thing that I always say to people and to myself is that in this world, you can be anything that you want to be. Anything that you put yourself to, you can be. Because some people look and think, oh my God, look at what that person's doing, I can never do that. Look at where that person's at, I can never be that. We look at them as in, it's almost like they're out of this world, yet we breathe the same air. And I think that change of mentality, that change, that desire to break barriers really goes a long way.
It does, and you gotta willing to do that as well. You know, I look at people like Jeff Bezos, I'm like, wow, you know, he's been able to touch and impact millions of lives. Like, he definitely impacts mine because, you know, when he started thinking about Amazon, for example, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna be selling books. But today you go into Amazon, you tap into different industry, right? You tap into like electronic. You want to buy a microwave, you can do. You want to buy a culture, you can do. You can buy books too. So for him to get there, he had to break down barriers, like you're saying. He had to break out of that. Like myself, for example, you know, for me to get here, and I know my journey is just starting, right? And for me to get where I want to get, there's a lot of things I need to change. Like, for example, early this year, I left my job, right, around June. And I started talking to my parents about where I wanted to go. The conversation didn't go well at all. You know, honestly, it didn't. And slowly, I'm making, especially my dad, right? I'm making him aware that that 9 to 5 is not for me. I was like, okay, but you had a good job and you were traveling, you were doing. I was like, but I was not happy with that. I want to do something different. And for me to do something different, I have to do something that I've never done before.
Wow.
That's how I'm going to change.
Wow.
I cannot continue going to work and wanting to become a millionaire because I'm not changing.
That's true.
Right? I wanna have a 6-pack. I have to go to the gym maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but consistently, you know. And in order for me to see those changes, so it's very vitally important to just, you know,
that's so true.
Break down, yeah.
And it's so much that I've learned today myself. I think honestly, it's so much, and knowledge is something that's so powerful. No wonder people hide it, because when you start to think differently, you start to open your mind differently.
Yeah.
Even what you think you knew, there's always something to be added.
Of course.
And I think there's an importance for people also to want to learn.
Yeah.
You spoke earlier about networking, because sometimes we get to levels where you think, okay, I don't need to know. I know what I'm doing. I'm on this path. But you sit down with someone else that's in another industry and you're able to gain something. And I think as people, it's important to always aspire to growth.
Of course, yeah. We grow every day.
True.
You know, there is someone in my property surrounding. His name is Kabir. He's 15 years of age.
Wow.
He's currently going through exams, right? But Kabir has a YouTube channel. He has vlogs, and you know, he holds like conference. He talks to people. Like he would host a conference of maybe, or a meeting of maybe 40 to 50 people. That's a 15 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my baby right there.
Wow.
You know, and when I look at them, I'm like, what is he doing different that I couldn't do back in the day, or what I'm not doing right now? Because that 15 years old is willing to change. You know?
Wow.
Why is it different? It's not different. He's just willing to change. You know, a lot of people know what they know, but they don't want to change that. They're not willing to change that, right? One of the things that I do, I teach young individuals, or even like anybody really, to, you know, I show them the way on how to become financially free, like by creating their own wealth and economy, right? And I talk to them about different type of things that I do. But when it comes to taking the step, they're like, whoa, now? Trust out now?
Like right now?
I'm like, yeah. What's stopping you? Is it the price that is stopping you? Or is it you being, that transition, is it scary for you? And a lot of people are not willing to do so. I was like that, you know. I was a talker. I would always say, I want to become that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And that was years ago.
Wow.
Imagine I had started years ago.
Wow.
I would have gotten far.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've started, I say to myself, that's it. Because once your mind starts expanding, it doesn't go back to where it was.
Wow.
It doesn't. I had a friend of mine calling me saying, you know, you're not working, right? Financially speaking, it's a bit difficult. Yeah, it can be difficult at times. What are you trying to do? I have a friend who actually is looking for someone in this industry. I was like, I'm not interested. It's 50K a year. No, I'm looking to make 50K a month. Are you pushing me backwards?
My God.
But I said, listen, my situation is temporary. I'm not going to be like this for the rest of my life. I'm working towards becoming better. I will become better. When I get there, I will keep becoming better.
Wow.
So don't tell me that I need to go back to work, because I'm not going to move forward. So you need to know what you want, and you also need to be willing to change that.
Okay, that's true. And in terms of work, because some people will be watching this and they will be thinking we're telling people to not work, right? What would you say to that? What importance does it have to some extent?
All right, we need to be logic here, because we need our job to keep paying our bills, our rent, and doing what we do on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, right? That's very important. The way I started was when I decided to get into this business field or venture, I started part-time, okay? One of my mentor, Jim Rohn, he says, you want to become a millionaire, you have a job, work on your fortune on a part-time basis.
Right.
Once your part-time basis fortune is started to grow, leave your full-time job and then concentrate on that.
That's some good advice.
That's how I started. I didn't just wake up in the morning and say, hey, manager, here's my resignation letter. I'm out. Who's going to feed my children? You know, it was a slowly process. It was, you know, it had to be a process for me to get here. You know, I would say, for those who are still on a 9 to 5, I would say, do what you do, but please think about your future ahead, because a lot of people that are working are not actually recognized for their skills or for what they have. They're not. You know, every time, because I used to work in a recruitment field, right? Every time I will recruit someone, what I see on top of that head is numbers. We are numbers to our employers because we're bringing in money.
And numbers that can be replaced.
Exactly, within seconds. Unfortunately, we had a death in my old department. Do you know how quick we replaced that person?
Wow.
It went like that. 2 days later, we had someone else because we need to make money.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, do what you're doing. 9 to 5 is fine. I'm not insulting anybody out there. I actually do appreciate those who wake up in the morning and go to work. Then those who stay at home and don't do anything. Okay? People have different circumstances in life. But what I would say is, what is after that?
Yeah.
After that 9 to 5? Okay, what is it that you're trying to achieve in life? There are people who are happy with, I'm gonna go into retirement, and I say, okay, fine, fair play. I'm not just that type of a person.
I have one final question for you. As a woman, there's always the challenges that we face even in this world as an entrepreneur. And you're not just a woman, you're a single mom as well. But you touched upon that. But as a woman, with the barriers that are there, how do you overcome that? Of course, for me, this show is not just for women, because I believe a woman can be able, we're inspiring everybody. But as a woman, because you're a woman yourself, what are some of the challenges that we face? And not so much the challenges, but how do we overcome those as well in this world of financial freedom? Because, for example, you're here now, you have to worry also about your children. You've got to worry about these things. And these things come as a result of being a woman. How do I overcome that in this male-dominated world? Because especially when it comes to reaching a certain place, how would I carry myself to make sure that I'm not compromised, but I'm still able to affirm myself?
So, you know, for me, for example, I would say just be firm, okay? Just know your worth. Because, you know, even like in relationships, you know, you have your partner like verbally abusing you. You think it's normal. It is not normal, my darling. You need to be in a place where you say to yourself, you know what? I wear my own crown. It doesn't matter what you say, I'm my own queen, okay? And I face a lot of challenges, you're right, you know? I was talking to someone recently, and then he says, you know what, Richie, it's fine, I love your ideas, but I have 25 years of experience, it's not gonna work because you're a woman. I'm like, I'm unique in my own way. I'm Richie Malingo, I was born Richie Malingo, and I will die Richie Malingo. So I'm thinking that what I'm gonna put forward is going to work. Who are you to tell me that it's not gonna work? So if you're telling me it's not going to work, I'll try harder. You know what I hate? What I like? Sorry? I love the naysayers. I love them. You know people that say no to me? I love them because those no's push me to do more.
Wow.
When I started my property journey and I would call agent, they're like, no, Richie, we can't work with you. No, Richie. Like, out of 100 calls, you have maybe like 70 calls they're telling you no. How would you feel as a person? Terrible, right?
Very terrible.
The first times I remember, I will feel down. I will call my property mentor and I say, listen, it's not working. What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm not talking properly. But then I decided to turn those no into positivity. Okay? Because I'm also learning all of those no's. Maybe I've said something that was wrong. Maybe my tone of voice was wrong. Maybe my pitch was wrong, right? So
I want you to tell me 2 things that you want people to go back with when we're talking about financial liberty. We've spoken about a lot of things, just 2 things.
Start getting educated when it comes to finance. Start becoming financial literate. Find out more. Talk to people who are actually in that area of their lives, you know. You want to become a millionaire, hang around, if you're not yet, hang around millionaires, right? And the second thing is, start taking action, okay? One of the quotes that I love by Richard Branson, he says, when an opportunity is given to you and you don't know it, just grab it and then figure it out later.
Wow.
Do you think that all of those entrepreneurs out there, they knew what they were doing before?
Absolutely not.
They got to learn it. I'm on my learning journey. I learn a lot. I have a lot of mentors, you know. They're probably gonna look back and say, no, Richie, what you said is wrong. That's how you need to do it. So yeah, start getting yourself educated, financially speaking. Please, it's so important. And then the second thing is just take action. I'm involved in a business where I help individuals create their own wealth and create their own economy by tapping into different industry, right? And that's called e-commerce. You know, I touch base. Actually, you know, we tap into financial market. We tap into travel and tourism. We tap into education. Again, education is always key. We tap into learning. You know, how do you make money while you're learning, right? And that's one thing that I teach individuals as well. And I'm also involved in properties as of recently, you know, only this year. And next year is looking great because next year I have so many things that I want to do. So whenever you want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook. You can find me under Richie PV Malingo, on Instagram as well. I'm also very, you know, plug into social media, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. And one of the other things that I'm doing, that's just based off my experience, you know, as of next year, I want to start running charities for like people who are homeless, you know, like orphans. I've already started to do a little bit of work with women, you know, global, like to empower women, globally speaking, because I see this, I was there, and I feel like women do not know themselves. They don't know their worth. You know, you talk about someone, like I was talking to one of my cousins, and I was like, so how are you going? Oh, I found someone. I was like, oh, how quick? Not even like a year ago, you were by yourself. You were with someone. What happened? I can't be by myself. Why can't you be by yourself? Why don't you get to love yourself? I don't need a man to come and love me. I love myself. I don't need a man to come and tell me I'm beautiful, I'm pretty, and I'm this and I'm that, because I will tell those things to myself. I affirm it to myself. Like I have to tell myself, you know. And that's also one thing that I started to do, and it's also in a process really to be.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah,
and it's looking like 2020 is going to be a very busy year.
It will. Yeah. It will. There's a lot of projects coming up, so stay tuned. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's been really amazing, and I think our viewers are going to appreciate it. I'm leaving here with a little bit more knowledge that I had from when we started. Again, if we're able to connect and work together, we're able to go further. So wherever you are out there, I hope you're inspired by today, because it shows again the importance of networking, the importance of togetherness, and the importance of breaking barriers and getting to your financial freedom. So once again, to our viewers, we say thank you, and we say thank you again to our lovely PV.
Thank you for having me.
It was really, really lovely to have you. So for now, we're signing off. Until next time, can we talk about it?
Can we talk? Can we talk about it? We'll be too busy fighting over nothing. Can we talk? Can we talk about it? We'll be too busy fighting over nothing. Can we talk? Can we discuss? Yeah. Can we talk? Can we discuss? Yeah. Can we talk? Can we discuss? Yeah. Can we talk about it?